welcome to the deep dive. So today we're doing something a bit different, focusing on just one trading tip.
Yeah, a really concise one from someone named Mansi.
Right, it says, in stock market, be teachable, stay teachable. You will never know everything. Simple, but there's a lot packed in there, isn't there?
Absolutely. It sounds straightforward, but when you start to unpack it, especially for the stock market, it's fundamental. It touches on continuous learning, navigating complexity.
And maybe even a bit of humility.
Exactly. Humility in a field that often rewards or seems to reward a lot of confidence. So yeah, let's dive into what this really
Okay,
means.
so let's take the first bet. Be teachable. In the context of the market, what does that actually look like day to day? It's not like school, right?
No, it's definitely not sitting in a classroom. Be teachable here, I think, means actively cultivating an openness. It's about seeking out different perspectives.
So not just sticking to your guns no matter what.
Precisely. It's being willing to say, maybe my first take on this wasn't quite right. Or even actively looking for information that challenges your view.
That sounds harder than it looks.
It can be. Our biases tend to make us look for confirmation. But the best investors, they seem to be constantly reading, listening, absorbing things that might contradict what they thought they knew.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's the next part, stay teachable. Why the repetition? Why be and stay?
Well, I think stay teachable really hammers home that this isn't like a one-time fix. It's not, okay, I'm open-minded now, check.
Ah, right. It's ongoing.
Exactly. The market is always, always changing. Think about tech advancements, regulatory shifts, global politics. What worked 5 years ago might be totally wrong today.
So if you're not staying teachable, you risk getting left behind with old strategies.
Yeah, you absolutely do. History is littered with examples of traders or funds that were brilliant for a while, but then they stopped adapting, stopped learning, and, well, things didn't end well. Staying teachable is about survival, really.
Okay, which brings us to that last part, the bit I find really interesting. You will never know everything.
Hmm.
That feels almost counterintuitive in finance sometimes, doesn't it? There's so much emphasis on analysis and prediction and, well, knowing things.
It does feel counterintuitive, but it's actually, I think, incredibly powerful. Admitting you don't have all the answers, acknowledging the inherent uncertainty, that's not weakness.
It's a strength.
I'd argue it is. It can lead to more careful decision-making, less hubris, maybe. If you accept you can't know everything, you're probably less likely to make massive impulsive bets based on feeling certain.
And maybe more likely to learn from mistakes. If you think you know it all, a mistake is just bad luck. If you know you don't know it all.
Then a mistake is a learning opportunity, right? You analyze why it went wrong, what didn't you see, what assumption was flawed. That's critical feedback.
So putting it all together, this isn't just about, like, reading the financial news every morning.
Oh, definitely not. It's much deeper. It's a mindset, a way of approaching the entire endeavor.
My mindset of sort of constant questioning.
Yeah, constant inquiry, constant adaptation. It might mean learning about completely new investment styles, or maybe digging into the boring details of accounting standards, or even just trying to understand why a certain trend is happening, not just that it is happening.
Which really puts the onus back on you, the listener. When you encounter something new about the market, maybe an analysis that goes against your gut, what's your first reaction?
Do you dismiss it, or do you lean in? Do you try to understand the reasoning, even if you ultimately disagree?
That's a good point. It's not just about passively taking stuff in.
Right. Active engagement. If you see a stock analysis, do you just look at the buy or sell recommendation? Or do you try to look at the numbers they use, think about their assumptions? Could there be another way to interpret that data?
So that active questioning, that wrestling with the information, that's the real learning.
That's where the real learning happens, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you build genuine understanding, not just surface level knowledge.
So Mansi's very short tip. In stock market, be teachable, stay teachable. You will never know everything. It really is a kind of guiding principle.
It absolutely is. It emphasizes that lifelong learning and a dose of intellectual humility are not just nice to haves in the stock market, they're essential.
It's a constant reminder that we're dealing with a complex, dynamic system. No one has it totally figured out.
And accepting that, embracing the need to keep learning, keep adapting, that's probably the single most valuable asset an investor can have, especially today with so much information flying around.
So let's wrap this up. The core message here from Mansi's tip is this constant need for learning, for adaptability in the market.
Yeah, and that knowing your limits, knowing you don't know everything, isn't failure. It's actually smart. It's fundamental to navigating something as unpredictable as trading.
Right. It's a strength. So maybe a final thought for you listening. How can you actively, consciously try to cultivate that teachable mindset?
Not just with stocks, maybe, but anywhere in your life where things are always changing, where knowledge keeps expanding.
Good question. How do you stay open, stay curious, and keep learning? Something to think about.